24 Iranian missiles are in the air. The USS Abraham Lincoln knows about 16 of them. The other 8 have been flying for 3 minutes and 42 seconds through a valley in the Omani mountain range that makes them completely invisible to every radar in the strike group. They will clear the peaks in 4 minutes and 11 seconds. And 4 minutes and 11 seconds is almost no time at all to stop 8 sea-skimming cruise missiles that have already covered 2/3 of their journey before anyone knew they existed. To understand how Iran designed this attack, you have to understand what the most senior surviving officer in the Iranian Navy was looking at when he made the last significant military decision the Islamic Republic would make in this conflict. Khamenei is dead. The IRGC's top commanders are dead. The nuclear facilities are in ruins. But in a hardened command bunker somewhere, this officer is looking at a map of the Arabian Sea and a geography lesson that his targeting officers have been studying for 3 years. A mountain range on the Omani coast that runs parallel to the Abraham Lincoln's operating area and creates a radar shadow approximately 180 kilometers long and 40 kilometers deep. Anything flying inside that shadow is invisible to surface radar. The mountains are 2,800 meters high and they block line of sight completely. If you can get missiles into that valley and keep them there until the last possible moment, you can present a carrier strike group with a threat it cannot see until it has 4 minutes to respond. He has 24 missiles total, 1 Fateh-class submarine already positioned in the Gulf of Oman, fast boats, a shore battery on the Makran coast, and that geography lesson. It is enough to build a plan. The architecture of the attack is elegant in the way that only genuinely dangerous things can be. 8 missiles from fast boats in the Arabian Sea to the south, loud, visible, designed to be seen and to pull Aegis targeting resources toward the southern threat axis. 8 missiles from the shore battery on the Makran coast to the north, a second threat axis pulling defensive attention in the opposite direction. And 8 missiles from the submarine, fired 2 minutes before everything else, already inside the radar shadow, already flying the valley route, already most of the way to the Abraham Lincoln before the other 16 missiles even launch. The 16 visible missiles are not the attack. They are the distraction. The 8 invisible ones are the weapon. At 9:14, the fast boats launch from the south. 8 Noor anti-ship missiles drop to sea-skimming altitude and accelerate toward the Abraham Lincoln at Mach 0.8. The SPY-1D radar on the USS Delbert D. Black picks them up immediately. 8 contacts bearing 182, range 47 nautical miles, time to impact 11 minutes. The Aegis system begins building intercept solutions before the tactical action officer has finished reading the contact report. 4 minutes later, the Makran shore battery launches from the north. 8 more Noor missiles, different bearing, different range, designed to arrive at approximately the same time as the southern salvo and force the strike group to split its interceptor inventory across 2 simultaneous threat axes. The Combat Information Center on the Abraham Lincoln now has 16 inbound contacts on the tactical display. 2 threat axes. A defensive problem demanding the full attention of every radar operator, every fire control officer, and every weapons system in the formation, which is exactly when the E-2D Hawkeye saves the carrier. The E-2D Hawkeye is the Abraham Lincoln's airborne eyes, a twin-turboprop early warning aircraft flying at 25,000 feet above the operating area with a rotating radar dome on its back that can see 350 miles in every direction and look down at the surface from an angle that ground-based and ship-based radars cannot replicate. The ship radars are limited by the horizon. They cannot see below the radar shadow created by terrain features because they are sitting at sea level and mountains block their line of sight. The E-2D has no such limitation. At 25,000 feet it looks over mountains. It sees into valleys. It sees things that every surface radar in the formation is physically incapable of detecting. And at 9:17 and 43 seconds, exactly 3 minutes and 42 seconds after the Fateh-class submarine fired its 8 missiles into the radar shadow of the Omani mountain range, the E-2D Hawkeye's APS-145 radar detects 8 new contacts clearing the northern peaks at low altitude. Bearing 227. Range 38 nautical miles, speed 550 knots, time to impact 4 minutes and 11 seconds. Lieutenant Commander Sarah Webb, the E-2D's mission commander, transmits the contact report to the Abraham Lincoln's Combat Information Center in the same second. 8 new contacts, northern bearing, inside minimum radar coverage, time to impact 4 minutes 11 seconds. The Combat Information Center has been managing 16 threats. It now has 24. And the 8 new ones are the closest, the most dangerous, and the ones with the least time remaining. Rear Admiral James Carver has been in the Combat Information Center since the first missile contacts appeared 12 minutes ago. He processes Webb's report in approximately 2 seconds and makes 3 calls simultaneously. SM-2s on the new contacts, Maximum rate of fire. EA-18G Growler on the Makran battery now. All ahead flank. Evasive maneuvering. The carrier begins turning. The Growler pilot has been orbiting at altitude waiting for exactly this call. The Aegis system begins reassigning interceptors. Here is where the mathematics of the engagement become critical. The 16 visible missiles have been absorbing SM-2 interceptors since 9/14. 12 SM-2s have already been fired against the southern and northern salvos, destroying 6 of the 16 visible missiles in the first 3 minutes of engagement. 10 visible missiles are still inbound. 8 invisible ones just became visible. The strike group has to defeat 18 missiles in the next 4 minutes, with whatever does remain in the vertical launch cells and whatever the Growler can do to the Makran battery in the next 60 seconds. The EA-18G Growler rolls in on the Makran battery at 9:18. Its ALQ-99 jamming pods identify the fire control frequency the battery is using to send targeting updates to its 8 missiles in under 30 seconds. The same technique that worked in the Strait of Hormuz. The same vulnerability that Iran has not fixed because fixing it requires replacing every guidance system on every NOR missile in the inventory, and there has not been time. The Growler floods the frequency. All 8 northern missiles lose their targeting updates simultaneously. Without continuous position data on a moving carrier, they are flying toward where the Abraham Lincoln was, not where it is. The carrier's evasive turn has already moved it 600 meters from its previous position. The northern salvo is now flying toward empty ocean and nothing is going to correct them before they run out of fuel and hit the water. 8 threats eliminated without a single interceptor fired. The southern salvo is a different problem requiring a different solution. The 8 fast boat missiles have no shore-based guidance. They are autonomous once launched, using their own onboard radar seekers in the terminal phase, and jamming cannot sever a connection that does not exist. They have to be shot down. The Aegis system has been working through them methodically since 9/14, and by 9/19, 5 of the original 8 have been destroyed by SM-2 interceptors. 3 remain, now inside 20 nautical miles and entering terminal attack phase. Their onboard radar seekers active and scanning for the carrier's hull. 2 more SM-2s launch and find their targets. 2 more missiles destroyed. The third executes a terminal evasive maneuver at 18 nautical miles, a pre-programmed sequence that throws off the intercept solution, and the SM-2 detonates in empty air 300 meters from the missile. At 12 nautical miles, the Abraham Lincoln's own phalanx US picks it up, 4,500 rounds per minute, tracking the sea-skimming contact as it closes. The missile flies into the burst at 9 nautical miles and disintegrates. Debris scatters across the water. Nothing reaches the hull, which leaves 8 missiles clearing the Omani mountain range with 3 minutes and 20 seconds remaining. The E-2D Hawkeye's detection gave the Aegis system 151 seconds of warning on these contacts, 151 seconds more than the Iranian targeting officer planned for. In those 151 seconds, the Aegis fire control computers built intercept solutions on all 8 contacts, assigned SM-2s from the vertical launch cells of 3 different ships simultaneously, and began firing in a sequence calculated to defeat the salvo with minimum interceptor expenditure. The first SM-2 reaches its assigned contact at 9:20 and detonates close enough to shred the missile's guidance system. The second and third launches destroy their targets 12 seconds later. The fourth SM-2 misses. The missile executes an evasive maneuver in its terminal phase. The fifth launch corrects, detonating directly against the airframe at 7 nautical miles. The 6th, 7th, and 8th contacts are destroyed in rapid succession over the next 40 seconds, the last one close enough that the fireball is visible from the Abraham Lincoln's flight deck. At 9:22 and 17 seconds, the last contact disappears from the tactical display. 8 minutes and 17 seconds from first missile contact to last destroyed track. 24 missiles from 3 directions, 0 hits, 0 damage, 0 casualties. The Abraham Lincoln has not changed its flight operations schedule. Aircraft that were on approach when the engagement began are still on approach. The crew that was eating breakfast when the first contacts appeared is finishing breakfast. But the engagement is not finished, because the Fateh-class submarine that fired 8 missiles from the radar shadow of the Omani mountains is still out there. And it made the same mistake every submarine makes when it fires. It gave away its position. The launch transients from 8 simultaneous torpedo tube ejections propagated through the water column the moment those missiles left the submarine, and the USS Delbert D. Black's towed array sonar captured every one of them. The tracking solution has been building since 9:15. By 9:22, it is accurate to within 60 meters. At 9:24, the Delbert D. Black fires 2 Mark 54 torpedoes on a converging intercept course with the Fateh's projected position. The submarine's sonar operator detects the launch and the boat goes to emergency full power immediately, turning hard and deploying decoys. The first Mark 54 follows a decoy. The second does not. At 9:27, it detonates against the Fateh's pressure hull in the forward engineering compartment. The explosion ruptures the hull and flooding begins immediately. The commanding officer activates the emergency blow system, and the submarine rises toward the surface, damaged and listing, breaking through at 9:31 with 11 crew members visible on the bridge and hull within seconds of surfacing. The Delbert D. Black is already on intercept course, its 5-inch gun trained on the contact. Arriving alongside at 9:38, the submarine's crew does not man any weapons. There is nothing left to fight with. Iran fired 24 missiles at the USS Abraham Lincoln from 3 directions simultaneously in the most sophisticated coordinated naval attack the IRGC had ever attempted. A fast boat salvo from the south to split defensive attention, a shore battery salvo from the north to split it further, and 8 missiles hidden inside a mountain radar shadow for almost 4 minutes, invisible to every surface radar in the formation, designed to arrive when the strike group was most distracted and least able to respond. It was a professional attack built around a genuine geographical advantage that Iranian targeting officers had studied for 3 years. A real radar shadow created by real mountains on a real coastline, exploited with genuine tactical sophistication by officers who understood exactly what they were doing and why it should have worked. It failed completely because one aircraft flying at 25,000 feet looked over the mountains, saw what was hiding in the valley behind them, and gave the strike group 4 minutes and 11 seconds that the Iranian Navy never intended it to have. 4 minutes and 11 seconds was enough. It was more than enough. The 16 missiles designed to be the distraction were defeated by Aegis and the Growler. The 8 missiles designed to be the weapon were defeated by 151 seconds of warning that should not have existed, and the submarine that delivered the most dangerous element of the attack is now on the surface of the Arabian Sea, listing in the morning sun, with its crew standing on the hull waiting for a rescue that is going to take a very long time to arrive. The most sophisticated naval attack Iran ever attempted ended not with a hit on an American carrier, but with an Iranian submarine crew blinking in the daylight, their boat sinking beneath them. 4 minutes and 11 seconds away from a different outcome that never came.